So this is based on a bestseller by Lee Strobel, played here by Mike Vogel. This is a faith-based film. Okay, the story is he's a hard-hitting investigative journalist who believes in just the facts. His newspaper has a motto, which is, if your mum says she loves you, check it out. That's what they do. And then one night, true story, one night out with the wife and daughter starts choking on a gobstopper, a candy. And somebody comes along and manages to get the gobstopper out. And they say, wow, it's so, because she's a nurse at the hospital. They say, it's incredibly lucky that you're here. And she says, nothing to do with luck. I was going to another restaurant, but I felt a message. I'm a Christian, and I felt that I was sent here for a purpose. The next thing that happens is he's an atheist. His wife starts to think that actually maybe there was something divine working through this, and she decides to convert to Christianity. He is absolutely outraged. And so he decides that the way he's going to stop her doing that is he's going to investigate Christianity, like a proper journalist, and he's going to debunk it by proving that it's all nonsense. Here's a clip.
One of my heroes was C.S. Lewis, a man who began as a skeptic, much like yourself. At the end of his journey, you know what he said? He said, if Christianity is false, it's of zero importance. But if it's true, there's nothing more important in the entire universe. So you want your wife back? Well, hey, guess what? People in hell want ice water. Not everybody gets everything they want. Stop blaming me and the church and God and do your job. Stack up the evidence, follow the facts, and write the story, win or lose.
You were rolling your eyes so far that you almost went into the back of your head.
Well, it's,
No, I know. So
you picked a scene there.
But that is, that's kind of the tone of the film. So the thing is this. For a start, it's very, very easy to sneer at faith-based movies. And I've said this thing before, that when I was going to see The Shack, I did write a note to myself which said, don't sneer. It was quite hard not to when it did turn into Star Trek Goes to Heaven, because the film in which Star Trek Goes to Heaven is Star Trek V, in which Captain Kirk picks a fight with God, and God loses. Captain Kirk wins. And that's the film. I think it was actually directed by William Shatner.
Oh, okay.
I'd like a scene in which I go head to head with the Almighty. It's not really the Almighty. It's somebody pretending to be the Almighty. And in the case of this, I mean, this is certainly better than Sam Worthington, in a shack with the Father, Son, and Holy Ghost as represented by characters who then teleport up into a Star Trek universe. And I think of all of the faith-based movies that we've seen recently, it's one of the better ones, in as much as it has a story about somebody. In other hands, in other circumstances, people might sort of read that story differently. The problem is this: obviously. Let me ask you a question. You haven't seen this film, right?
No, I haven't.
You haven't read this book, right?
No, I haven't. No.
Do you think he disproves the case?
My guess is that would be unlikely.
Okay. What do you think happens at the end?
My guess is that he realises that his wife is right, and that he also decides to convert.
Fine. So,
but I haven't seen.
No, you haven't seen the film, and I'm not going to tell you whether that is what happens or whether it isn't what happens.
Or there could be a spaceship that comes down and kills them all.
No, that doesn't happen either. Okay. But it's so within the construct of the kind of thing that how the films are going to pan out, how the stories are going to pan out, because you know what the message is. It's one of the better ones. It's put together properly. It's constructed quite slickly. There are the moment at the beginning when they're in the restaurant. I didn't know where the story was going. I was worried for the child, and it attempts as much as is possible to balance itself as a proper drama.
So you can only say, is it a good film or is it not a good film? So it sounds as though it is.
It's not a good film, but it's a perfectly moderate film, and certainly in terms of the field in which it operates, it's one of the better of those films.
So our movie...
That's the definition of mealy-mouthed, isn't it?